Let me give you a guided tour. Let us learn some more.
Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm the Amastorian, and this video is gonna be on Siaröfortet, or directly translated Siaröfortress. It's a bunker on Kyrkogårdsön in Stockholm archipelago. Directly translated, Kyrkogårdsön means cemetery island. I'm not saying that you should directly translate it, but it could be a bit funny sometimes. Very well, let's get on with this. As I said, it is situated in Stockholm archipelago by Furusundsleden, which is one of the major waterways you have to go by, where you can go by ship from the Baltic Sea into Stockholm. And that was why it was placed here, as a way of defending Stockholm. And when was this built? Well, the decision to create Siaröfortet was taken 1914. And they started building it at 1918, and when the World War I broke out, the construction had started and was completed in 1924. Although, I'm gonna get back to that later. It had a concrete roof, and concrete and rock roof rather, that was 4 to 6 meters thick. It had a main tunnel with connecting rooms. For combat management, munition supply, barracks. It could house about 270 soldiers with mess hall, kitchen, toilets, offices and supply rooms. And for its time it was really high tech. This type of fortress had never been done before, not in Sweden, and that was sort of its main strength and its main weakness. I'm gonna get back to that. Its main ornament was two 15.2 centimeter model 1898 cannons that was taken from the warship Svea that was going into retirement, and therefore had to give up her cannons for Siaröfortet. On the beach there was 4 fast-firing 57mm cannons and a whopping big 5,000 watt searchlight that was also high tech for the age. And it had lots and lots of ground defenses. It was really high tech on that too. And now let's get to the downsides of this fortress, because this fortress was really one of Swedish military's biggest mistakes. First of all, it cost about 1 billion crowns to build, and that was in the day's money worth of the day, not in the money today. So it was really expensive. Well, as I mentioned, the Siaröfortet was made by blasting out basically a cave in the mountain and then filling it up with concrete and shaping it to something similar to a house inside. or housing. The problem with this is damp or water. As I said, this type of technique was really new. No one had ever done this before. It was completely new, and that was sort of its biggest weakness too, because that damp made it unusable. They didn't know how to get that get it watertight enough to not let in the water. There is so much water in that base that it's formed dropstones formations in the ceiling, and the health inspection really, even before it's the base was finished, condemned this base unusable because of the damp. The base was only in use for 6 months, and no soldier ever slept inside the base. They was not allowed to do it. They had to sleep outside in a house that was built for the construction of the base that was later used as a barrack. Or they slept in tents. Yeah, it was better to sleep in a tent outside than to sleep inside the base. The other problem was the main cannons. They were made to be used on a warship, on a battleship, not to sit on a base without proper line of sight. That made these cannons really they had really bad aim then. They were meant to have mobility and not be used on such long reach, long distance on a moving target from a fixed point. So yeah, they forced these cannons to do something they could not do, and that didn't work. So they weren't accurate enough, simply. The other part was these cannons on the beach, the 457mm cannons. They were supposed to protect the base, not as the main ornament, but as defensive tools. The problem with these are that they cannot be shifted and pointed upwards against any aerial attack. And by the time this base was made, aerial attacks had become an issue. Suddenly you had zeppelins and crewed airplanes that could actually fly over a base and drop grenades and bombs and so on. But these major cannons could not be fired upwards. They could be fired horizontally, yes, but not vertically. And that was a major disadvantage when you cannot defend your base from a airplane going over and tossing out hand grenades, basically. We should actually compare those bombs to hand grenades today, I think. Okay, yeah, a hand grenade or something like that won't do that much to a base of this kind, no. But when you can't defend it at all they need to do is go past more times, and you're gonna get through. I mean, it's ridiculous. They're gonna get through it then, if you can't hold them off. Another problem here was the heating. It was so cold in this base that it was... Whoa. Still, in the summer, in the heat of a really scorching summer, I mean, could be about 35 degrees Celsius, and it's almost 10 degrees Celsius inside the base. It's so cold. It's ridiculous. And they tried to correct this by using small wood stoves in each room. The problem was this was not enough. And this was... They thought they could dry out the entire thing with wood stoves and heat it up. But that didn't work. So, cold and damp made it unusable. And another problem they had was ventilation. When World War I was done, a new weapon had entered the scene of the war. And that was poisonous gas. Chlorine gas and mustard gas and so on. And the problem with that was that the ventilation shafts was too short, and the openings for the ventilation shafts was of the right size, so you can easily drop down a canister of poisonous gas inside the ventilation and kill everyone inside. It was so easy to do that it was absolutely ridiculous. It would have been complete suicide to be inside there. It would probably have been better to jump in the lake and try and swim out than to sit inside the base. Why the hell did they not fix this? In my opinion, these things could have been fixed, but the authorities chose to simply abandon the entire thing. As I said, the base was only in use for about 6 months for active use. It was used furthermore up till 1960 for random, basically random events and stuff, or used as a storage unit. But by the 1939, when the Second World War broke out, it was pretty much unmodern and obsolete. It was obsolete technology. By then the technology had moved on so much that this was not modern anymore. And this sucks, because this fortress cost so much money, and it could have been used if these issues had been solved, but they didn't want to solve them, I think. Probably because the First World War was so gruesome that pretty much all of Western Europe, or the world's all of the countries in the West simply did not want to invest in war, and therefore they just closed it completely. Siaröfortet is nowadays a museum, and you can go there and check it out yourself. I highly recommend it, but if you do, bring a jacket. It's cold inside. I don't care if it's a sweltering hot summer, it's cold inside. And that's gonna be it for now. So, check me out on Facebook and on YouTube. Like and subscribe. Share it if you want to. Bye bye.
Thanks so much for watching. Like and subscribe.